There's more fallout from the alleged Disney whistleblower who claims that the debate was rigged or fixed or tricked or, well, it depends on your perspective. However, Disney has now released a response, an official response, and there's a convenient amount of wiggle room here that we think indicates something might be going on. Hello, folks. Welcome back to the Pro Channel, where we extract the truth even when it is difficult to do so. Explaining entertainment, keeping you ahead of the culture curve, and explaining entertainment companies, especially when they are dealing with very heavy subjects such as today. As we get ready to dive into today's content, consider clicking that like button. We begin with GBNews out of the UK. The US TV network, ABC that is, breaks silence to respond to whistleblower claims Harris received debate help. Well, let's find out what Disney has to say about this whole whistleblower deal that we talked about just a few days ago. Holly Bishop, the author of this one, says the US TV network, owned by Disney, by the way, ABC is owned by Disney, that hosted the Kamala Harris versus Trump debate has responded to claims from a quote-unquote whistleblower that said the Democratic candidate received help. ABC has insisted that it did not break debate rules after an alleged staff worker claimed that the network was biased towards Harris and gave her questions ahead of the debate. Now, as we brought forth in the video prior, we explained that one of the reasons this is so, shall we say, leaning into the realm of possibility is that Dana Walden is the head of Disney TV, and she oversees ABC News. And Dana Walden is a very close friend of Kamala Harris, even to the point that Dana Walden introduced Kamala to her husband. That's how good of friends they are. The document dated the day before the showdown said that the broadcaster gave Harris preconditions, which would give her a leg up over the former president. It was supposedly written by a male staffer who has worked at ABC for over a decade, who noticed a, quote, shift from unbiased reporting to a model influenced by external factors, unquote, during his time at the company. In the document, which is said to be a sworn affidavit signed by a notary public, the writer states that they do not support Donald Trump, with the intention of the letter being to address concerns regarding perceived biases within news reporting. The staffer also claimed to have sent the document to House Speaker Mike Johnson. Here's the response from Disney. The network said in a statement, ABC News followed the debate that both campaigns agreed on, and which clearly state no topics or questions will be shared in advance with campaigns or candidates. Now, there's an interesting issue about this. I want to carefully read this response from ABC News and compare it to what is being alleged. The allegation from this whistleblower, who we are told has secret audio files and those will be shared. And by the way, folks, we have no way of knowing whether or not this is legitimate. We have seen that it has followed the course that was laid out for us, but we'll see when those audio files come out. We'll have to figure out some way, and the rest of the media will as well, to try to corroborate those as best we can. So we're in uncharted territory in terms of, whether or not this is accurate, but the responses from Disney are interesting, as well as the fact that there was that interview with the LA Times in which one of the moderators essentially admitted they practiced to fact check one candidate, and they did so because the prior debate between Biden and Trump didn't go the way that they wanted it to go. Well, that's fairly well admitting just about everything that this allegation makes. So that's something interesting to see. Why would they admit that of their own volition? That seems to me that they're getting ahead of something. Could be wrong. But here's the exact statement. Let's read it again, and I want to explain to you where the wiggle is. ABC News followed the debate that both campaigns agreed on. Okay. Well, yes, you to some degree did that, but in a moment I'm going to show that you actually didn't. You broke the rules, and which clearly state no topics or questions will be shared in advance with campaigns or candidates. Well, that's not what the allegation is. Exactly, is it, ABC? For the allegation, you see, is that Disney shared with the Harris campaign sample questions. In other words, questions that are not supposed to be the exact questions, but which somehow, allegedly, very closely mirrored the real questions. So that gives you some wiggle room. The allegation isn't that you shared the topics or questions. The allegation is you shared sample questions, quote unquote sample questions. It's just that they weren't very different from the real ones. And that's a way to slide out of that. Now, I want to show you that ABC News did not follow the rules whatsoever. Let me show this to you. We go to Variety. And this one is by Todd Spangler, all the way back from June 28th. I'm going to show you that ABC did not follow the rules as best I can tell. CNN defends decision to not fact-check debate live. It is up to the candidates to challenge one another. This goes back to what they're so angry about, and this is why apparently ABC News, according to that LA Times post, practiced on how to fact-check one particular candidate. CNN facing an avalanche of criticism for letting false claims by Trump go unchecked during Thursday night's debate with Biden. We don't even have to read that paragraph, folks. If you were a fan of Trump, you enjoyed that debate. If you were not a fan, you did not like the debate. Okay, but it's not the moderator's job to jump in and fact-check candidates. That's the candidate's job. If you were on the debate team, for example, in high school, this is how simple this is, and everyone knows it. If you were on the debate team and you were debating the other team, the judges should not jump in and tell you you're wrong because of their opinions. That's insane. In a statement to Variety, CNN confirms this. The role of the moderators is to present the candidates with questions that are important to American voters and to facilitate a debate, enabling candidates to make their case and challenge their opponent. It is up to the candidates to challenge one another in a debate. The CNN's rep statement continued. CNN offered robust fact-checking coverage and post-debate analyses on TV and across our digital platforms during and following the debate's conclusion. According to CNN's own analysis, it goes into what they believe in terms of falsehoods. But here's what's interesting. The laissez-faire format for the debate, in which CNN moderators Jake Tapper and Dana Bash were to act as facilitators and not step in as fact-checkers, was agreed to by both Trump and Biden camps. Okay, so why is that interesting? Why does the CNN debate matter? Well, let's go to CNN. And this is from August 28th. And this is where we get into something very interesting. Here's what it says. During an event in Virginia on Monday, now this is back in August, Trump said of the microphones, "We agreed to the same rules." This is talking about the CNN debate. You see, the CNN debate and the ABC News debate had the exact same rules agreed upon by the candidates. He says, "I don't know, doesn't matter to me. I'd rather have it probably on, but the agreement was that it would be the same as it was last time." In a post on his Truth Social platform, he said, "The rules will be the same as the last CNN debate," which seemed to work out well for everyone except, perhaps, and then he goes on to give his label of Biden. The rules were exactly the same in terms of the agreement. Yet I'm here to tell you that ABC News, and you all saw this, fact-checked one single candidate. By our count, it was 7 times that he was fact-checked, 11 times that he was interrupted by the moderators, for a grand total of 18 times when the rules seemed to have been broken. 0 times for the other candidate. And as we said in the prior video, I'm not here to give you any kind of partisan take or political analysis. Folks, the reason that I'm doing this video is because there is a significant impact on the entertainment company known as Disney for doing so. Let me show you what the impact is of all this. But now that you know, Disney has essentially admitted to just about everything that the whistleblower said in that LA Times interview that we talked about, where they admitted that they practiced fact-checking and one candidate because, well, they didn't like how that candidate performed. Now, the only thing that's left is, did you share sample questions? And they don't deny that. Well, that's weird. And then there's that Dana Walden interview we showed where she doesn't deny it either. She says it's below the dignity of her own self to answer such a question. Very bizarre. Out of Fox News, ABC's David Muir sees newscast ratings decline after controversial debate performance. Muir's ABC World News Tonight sees a 12% drop in viewers. So here's what we have, folks, in terms of the after effect. ABC News World Tonight anchor David Muir may have driven away some viewers after the Disney-owned network irked conservatives and maybe moderates during last week's presidential debate. Muir and co-moderator Lindsay Davis, who's the one who spilled her guts to the LA Times, and why would you do that again? Why would you do that unless you think that that's going to come out? Why would you ever say that? Fact-checked former President Trump 5 times without ever correcting Vice President Kamala Harris. Now, again, my count is 7, but you could disagree depending on how you determine a fact check to be, prompting a plethora of conservatives to suggest the debate wasn't fair. Susan B. Anthony, Pro-Life America, even called for a correction after Davis made a claim about ending life in utero made during the debate during one of the fact checks on Trump that the group said was 100% inaccurate. Muir's World News Tonight averaged 6.7 million viewers on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, the 3 episodes following the debate, after averaging 7.6 million in 2024 leading up to the debate. That's a 12% drop. Now, why does that matter so much? Because it goes completely counter to what should have happened. The natural result of hosting a massive presidential debate is that now half the country that turns in or tunes in to watch these things has seen your moderator, and they're more likely then to view that moderator. And the election cycle is heating up after the debate going into the actual election. So every factor would indicate that your show would increase in viewership. In fact, were you to stay at the same ratings, that would be very strange in this circumstance. And yet, it did not stay the same. It definitely didn't improve. It actually declined, and it declined significantly. That is something to take note of. Now, why does this matter to Disney? Well, because Disney is in the midst of a very strong decrease of value. If we take a look at the 6 month from Disney, the high for their stock was $121. If we take a look at where it is today, it's had a slight uptick over the past few days, but it's still in the low 90s. This is a drastic change for a Disney company that just 5 years ago was looking much better. Would you like to see it? Take a look. Back in 2021 and 2022, after the pandemic era had ended as far as stocks go, this has largely wiped that out then. You can see that Disney was up in the upper 180s, 190s even. Look at this. Disney closed close to $200. Disney is down about 60% today versus where it was. But, folks, what if you were to have just invested in the S&P 500? The S&P 500, folks, you would be doing much better. I'm not here to give you any kind of financial advice, but over the 6 months, you can see you would be up 9.42%. If you were part of Disney over the last 6 months, you're down 18.4%. That's quite a chasm, but it gets worse. If you had invested in the S&P 500 over the past 5 years, you would be up 88%. And remember, Disney hit its high between 2021 and 22 and has dropped 60% since then. My, oh my, an 80% change versus a 60% decline? That's really something. You can tell that Disney wants out of the culture war, but obviously the political war was just too enticing for them. They're very invested, it seems, in making sure that they put their thumb on the scale. But when it comes to getting out of the culture war, they seem to be ready to do so when it comes to children's content, at least for the moment. This out of thatparkplace.com. Rumor, Disney executives stamped out any alleged gay interpretations from Inside Out 2 after Lightyear's box office failure. It's a fantastic article, and I recommend you go read it. It takes what has been told to an author at IGN and explains it in a way that, folks, you just have to see. Apparently, Disney now assesses that some of their films, specifically Lightyear, that involved issues of, well, social controversy, resulted in their box offices being terrible. If Disney recognizes that, the question then becomes, why did Disney not recognize that fact-checking one candidate many, many times and interrupting said candidate many times and not doing so to the other would be a huge problem and would set them back? It's as if those who are making content for children have a better grasp on the, what shall we say, the precipice upon which they stand versus those who are in the news and television business. Maybe they need to swap out Pete Docter, who runs Pixar, with Dana Walden, who runs TV. Just a thought. Dana Walden, of course, is the presumptive next CEO by many, including us. So she may be getting her just reward, except in this case, it's an unjust reward. Folks, that's the video for today. We hope that you enjoyed it. Again, we're not trying to be partisan or political, but we are here to explain that when Disney gives the responses that they do, and those responses don't seem to definitively deny what is being actually alleged, well, there's some issues with the wiggle there. And it almost begs the question, who's writing these things? Where is this coming from exactly? Who wants to put their name on it? These unnamed anonymous responses from Disney? Well, we'd like to know. Folks, we're not alleging any kind of wrongdoing here. We're just following this and giving our thoughts on it as best we can. Until the audio clips land from the whistleblower, it's going to be tough to know whether or not this is legitimate. Unless, for example, the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, who is alleged to have received these whistleblower affidavit papers, if he comes out and authenticates them, well, all right, we'll run with it. Until then, though, we're left wondering, why are we getting anonymous affidavits from sources that are not typical? We'll just say that. No disparagement meant. And why is Disney responding, giving interviews with the LA Times, Dana Walden not denying it, the response seemingly not directly denying any of the allegations? Why is Disney acting that way? The easy answer is just, no, we didn't do any of it. So far, they're not doing any of that in terms of answers. All right, folks, it's your turn now. Click that like button, share, subscribe, click it, stick it to the algorithms. It is the notification bell. Drop a comment down below, let us know your thoughts. Please share with us what do you think the ramifications and implications are for the Walt Disney Company as we move forward. Do you believe that they are guilty or unguilty of this? Innocent, some might say. Folks, we reserve our judgment here, but we are covering it because of how strange both sides of this coin happen to be. Until the next time, ladies and gentlemen, it was an honor sharing time with you. Thank you for inviting us in. We hope we added value to your day. Keep learning, keep growing, and as always, keep having fun.
Too small. Too small. Hey, Floral! Quick question. How wide is the average human being in North America?
I don't know. Why?
Well, I'm trying to buy a cannon to shoot Jonas out of for WDW Pro's 100K celebration.
Well, I guess the first line of defense here is reminding you, Pro hasn't hit 100K yet. And also, we can't afford a cannon.
Well, don't worry about the money. Pro will cover it. After all, he's a huge YouTuber now.
Oh, no. I need to call Jonas and let him know to lock down all the Pro's accounts. Ugh.
Oh, and remind him, he's gonna need the helmet for the 100K celebration. And maybe some shoulder pads.
Nope.
What do you mean you don't feel safe climbing in there to look around?
How did you get this?
America, baby.